A red carpet awaited him. A historic Arab China summit is to take place. And as the cameras of the world zoomed into Saudi Arabia, it was the United States that was watching most closely, with worry, with fear. America was watching its oil diplomacy fall apart. Let's first play out for you the visuals of Xi Jinping's arrival. Have a look at the grand welcome that the Chinese leader received there.
Look at the carpet, that's purple. Purple carpet.
What you are really seeing is American oil diplomacy falling apart. What you are seeing is America losing the oil war, one that has been triggered by the war in Ukraine, and one that the US had dreamt of winning through Saudi Arabia's support. But America's oldest oil ally is slipping into China's embrace. It is switching sides. And this tectonic shift is being led by Xi Jinping's historic outreach. Saudi Arabia is only the third country that the Chinese president is visiting since the pandemic started. Kazakhstan was the first, Uzbekistan the second. But that was different. Samarkand, remember, was hosting the Shanghai Cooperation Summit, or the SCO, an organization China founded in 1996. It's almost sentimental. With Saudi Arabia, China's ties are lubricated by oil. 17% of China's oil comes from Saudi Arabia. That's more oil than China imports from any other country. But that's all that there is to the Saudi-China relationship. There are no joint counter-terrorism efforts or strategic partnership. But what there is now is a common enemy, the United States of America, that unites these otherwise distant countries. China and the US have kept no secret of their growing animosity. Washington is openly supporting Taiwan, exposing China's nuclear plans. And China, on the other hand, is openly name-calling the United States. The biggest troublemaker being the latest.
So the president of China, Xi Jinping, says the United States is the biggest troublemaker. And now they're making ties with Saudi Arabia, who's already connected with Russia. What does that tell you, Americans?
The relationship between Saudi Arabia and the US also has been falling apart under the Biden administration. The very oil that powered their relationship has now started driving a rift between the two sides. The US wants Saudi-led oil cartel OPEC to produce more oil. Riyadh does not agree to that. In October itself, the OPEC Plus decided to cut oil production. And what followed was a spat between Saudi Arabia and the US officials, and Biden calling the cut unnecessary. So that is the backdrop against which Saudi Arabia and China are coming closer. And it's bound to shape the foundation of the Saudi-US relationship. Also have implications for America's oil politics. You see, America has been going about town asking countries to stop buying Russian oil. Washington says Russia is funding its war by selling oil. America wants to block Russia's oil trade, be it through sanctions, pricing policies, or plain politics. But America will not get what it wants till the Saudi-led OPEC produces more oil, till Saudi Arabia cooperates with America. What's happening is a far cry. Saudi Arabia is switching sides, joining hands with China, a country that's on Russia's side and against the United States. America's oldest oil ally is slipping away from its embrace. This is as embarrassing as it gets for Joe Biden. And to understand that, let's look at what this shift in balance means for China, Saudi Arabia, and America. Let's start with China. The visit showcases China's growing clout in West Asia. Also, it gets to rub this closeness on America's face. America is supposed to be Saudi Arabia's biggest security guarantor. What is a country that America brands a security threat doing in a kingdom that was once called America's 51st state? This is a question the American President Joe Biden would hate answering, and China would rejoice at that sight. And what's in it for Saudi Arabia? Xi Jinping's visit, I should remind you, comes following an invitation from Saudi Arabia's King Salman. Basically, it is the Saudis who laid the path for this visit. And why is that? Because Xi Jinping's visit is a chance for Riyadh to deepen its partnership with the Chinese at a time when the kingdom is trying to diversify its economy and diplomacy.
Yeah, we're talking.
Look, they're racing against the sun. Time is running out. The money, the dollar here in the United States is coming to an end, to collapse. No one is going for America bull crap no more. Everyone has had enough with their bull crap. And when you see this right here joining together, that should tell you something right here. And America and all the people in here that in America talk about how they care about diplomacy in other countries. Well, show me a video of Saddam Hussein beating his people and locking their apartment buildings, building cages around apartment complexes and locking them in their buildings and not letting them out for food. Show me a video where they had tanks and police officers actually beating people down because these people wanted some food. It's happening in China. It's happening in China. So why they don't assemble their military and go over there and call Xi Jinping a dictatorian? Why they don't go over there and say that he's a dictator and he needs to be removed? But they did it to Omar Gaddafi and they did it to Saddam Hussein. But they don't go over. They won't say that about China. You haven't mentioned not one thing out of all the things that are being, all the videos that are being shown from the people, the citizens of China that are going through this abuse, lack of food, lack of care, being locked in their homes for weeks, not able to travel to get food. I mean, if that ain't something that, you know, for the police of the world to step in, if they so-called care about people, why they not stepping into that? Why none of you, I'm talking to you Americans too, that you got these flags outside of your house and you care about and you all America this, America. Why y'all not jumping in that? Huh? Why your news, none of your news stations, CNN, Fox News, none of your generals, nobody is talking about China. Why? Huh? See, it's a problem when it's a problem when someone got the same size gun as you got. You see, Iraq is the size of your pinky finger. You know what I mean? So is Libya and Syria, the size of your pinky finger. You see, but when you got somebody that when your left fist is just as big as your right fist, you think. You see, that's why when the power and shit go out, the fools are going to kill themselves, but people are going to think before they react. You see, and that's what's happening. But see, I can tell this is all a mockery. This is all a joke. And like I said, what y'all don't notice that America is going to get it the worst because they still got the organic people of this planet in custody. You still don't see it. This is all shutting down right before your eyes.
This is also a country that's trying to modernize itself. The Saudi Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman is obsessed about projecting an image of a modern Saudi Arabia. And this is where China comes in with its technology. China, in fact, is already building mega projects in Saudi Arabia, setting up 5G infrastructure. You see, between the Saudis and the Chinese, it is an energy for technology or energy for trade kind of relationship. It's very different from the terms of engagement Riyadh had with Washington. Of course, there was trade there as well. There was oil for weapons. The US brought arms and guns to the table, and Saudi the energy. But is this time tested relationship relevant today? West
No, it's not. The United States gave them guns for oil. They don't need to. China was like, nah, we got technology that we can give you for your oil and build your modern city up. Because guess what? China, the Asian area, where is Saudi Arabia located at? They tell you Saudi Arabia, but where is it located at? In Africa. So stop it. China is becoming unlivable. So their military and their president and all of the people that they can literally get out of there for themselves are going to leave there. But the people will stay there and become cannibalistic people while their government tuck tail and run and try to go live in Africa. But that's not going to work either.
Asia is trying to move away from war. It is signing peace accords. And the rest of the world is slowly trying to move away from oil and gas, pivoting, or at least intending to pivot towards greener energy. What Saudi Arabia needs right now is not weapons, but a partner that can help it diversify its economy. A partner with a big enough market with enterprises that Saudi Arabia can invest in.
Bingo.
And that is where China comes into the picture. And this 3-day historic visit comes with rather loud geopolitical signaling. What we are looking at is a jam-packed agenda. Xi Jinping will be taking part in 3 summits: Saudi China, Gulf China, and the first Arab China summit. These summits will be attended by more than 30 heads of state and leaders of international organizations. The Chinese mouthpiece Global Times is calling the Arab summit a strategic choice for both sides. And for a change, and perhaps for the first time ever, we agree with Global Times. What happens in these 3 days will lay the groundwork for a strategic partnership. One that reports say Xi Jinping will be putting his signature on before he takes off for Beijing. And where does all of this leave America? Isolated, defeated. When Joe Biden was visiting Saudi Arabia, he boasted, "We will not walk away and leave a vacuum to be filled by China." Well, China has brought to life Joe Biden's geopolitical nightmare. It has swooped in and offered the Arab world respect vis-a-vis American arrogance. While America was trying to tell the world that West Asia is no longer its priority, that it needs to focus on Europe, Asia Pacific, and not West Asia, you have the Chinese ambassador to Saudi Arabia giving interviews stating that China places relations with the kingdom as a priority. And it's a contrast that suits Saudi Arabia and its crown prince, Mohammed bin Salman. Xi Jinping's historic visit to Riyadh is MBS's chance to show Joe Biden who really is in charge of bilateral ties. This is MBS telling Biden that while the US-Saudi partnership may have been in tune with the need and times of the post-war era, China and Saudi friendship makes more sense in the post-pandemic world. It's a pill too bitter for Joe Biden because it marks another geopolitical failure for his administration. As if Afghanistan was not bad enough. Now you have Saudi Arabia highlighting how Biden has been a diplomatic disaster. And you know what's worse? All of this comes at a time when oil and gas have become the most precious commodities following the war in Ukraine. If Biden wants to keep his voters happy, he needs to keep the oil prices in check. And for that, he needs Saudi Arabia and its oil cartel. But guess which side the Saudis are leaning towards? It's the Far East. If a force 4 is a perfect match, Saudi Arabia and China is a match made in heaven.
Now, let me say this to you. this is why it's the calm before the storm right now in America. That's why they constantly telling you over on the TV that the gas prices is low, it's going down. No, it's the calm before the storm. That's all it is. This is over. You all can continue to focus on what you want to focus on. Other people can use cognitive dissonance. Our people continue to not believe and trust in themselves and listen to the news all you want. But understand something. These are all non-real people. And I don't believe everything that they're saying either. I read in between the lines. And in reading in between the lines, I understand that China, Europe, Russia, they are becoming unlivable. So they have to go somewhere. A lot of them want to go to Africa. But however, America has to plummet because they are inviting some, they have to get ready. So the entire world, people that survive this wave that's getting ready to come, can accept something. You're going to have to accept the individual that was playing God for quite some time. So it don't matter if you realize that for hundreds of years someone has been living off of energy of in let's say blood of children. That doesn't matter. That's going to go out the window when you don't have any food, no vegetation, no water, no security, no 911, no cameras that can record, and you can stand in the courtroom and feel safe. See, when you're not, the only way you're going to feel safe is you take care of yourself. This ain't fearmongering. This is reality. To be honest with you, the reason why there's so much violence on the planet is because we do have law enforcement. Once law enforcement go, then every man will start to think before they react. The boys are not going to think. They're going to think that they're the only ones that have weapons and guns, but they're going to go fast. But every man is going to think before he reacts. He's going to realize what he's going to pick his battles, choose his battles wisely. So understand what's taking place and understand what's taking place. If you don't, oh well, that's on you. But the people that have mixed cells, they are literally setting this up for goodbye time. Have a good one.